What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pleeka Talks TV. I'm Jerome.
And I'm Nick.
This is the podcast where we talk about seems like every TV show on the planet.
Or 4 of them.
Yeah. Today we're talking about Titans and Black Lightning. But before we get into that, we do a separate video on Flash. We're gonna bring Flash into this, but then we kind of want to do that separately. So if you want to see our review on this week's episode of Flash, I'll put that in the description or whatnot. But in this week's episode, you see the 2025 newspaper again, and then you even see farther in the future. And I don't know if you can read both, but one of the newspapers you can read, and you see the events of the crisis of how Flash disappeared, which they've kind of retconned some things, because in the first season it's not as detailed, you know?
Right.
But they mentioned, like, some people remember there being characters like Arrow there and Batwoman, which is interesting. They word it like this. They say Arrow, Batwoman, characters lost in time like the Atom, and characters from other Earths like Supergirl.
Yeah.
Which makes you go, oh, okay, so Batwoman's on Earth 1. Because they say
Oh,
Arrow, Batwoman.
that's
Like,
true.
the way they worded like that is like, oh, so did you just confirm she's on Earth 1? Because they haven't really said yet, so I found that interesting. But the whole thing they're describing, it sounds to me, and you thought this kind of too, like they're teasing up. I don't think it'll be this crossover.
But
but
a crossover.
But I think there will be a tease in this crossover for next year's crossover, because they're already planning next year's already too. That it'll be a Crisis on Infinite Earths. Maybe even that'll be the one, like, now Supergirl's in the same Earth. I mean, if you go 4 seasons down the road, that might be a cool switch up.
Yeah.
But it feels like they're teasing Crisis on Infinite Earths, like, coming up into the future.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's got to be the crossover. And you're like, no, because they already did stuff.
Well, and, like, there's a character in this crossover whose brother is, like, the big bad from the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. Or, not crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths event. So it kind of makes sense if they kind of tease him in this and do stuff like that. And what's interesting, too, is there's a character in Crisis on Infinite Earths named Psycho Pirate. And, like, his whole big thing is, like, everybody else kind of forgets because all the worlds mesh together, and everyone's like, oh, now it's not that kind of like a reboot for DC.
Right.
But he was like, he remembers everything, and like he like is always like, oh, I remember there was like 4 Supermans and stuff like that, you know. And they mentioned him in the newspaper as well, saying he remembers the full event and how it went down and stuff like that.
What's his name?
Psycho Pirate.
It sounds like something you made up.
It does, but it sounds like a pretty cool superhero, if I might add. Sounds pretty neat.
It sounds
He's like,
horrible.
army mateys, I know when there's a Superman around.
That's what I was afraid
No,
of.
but like all the information's adding up. I think it'll be next year's crossover. And I mean, if it did, it'd have to be in the future. But I mean, that's not like. I mean, they went to fucking Earth X last year.
Yeah, I don't think the future would be that big of a deal.
So, but I kind of like that they went, and like it's written by Iris West still. So it's cool how much detail they went into just for the newspaper. That like some people could have just missed.
Yeah, well, I mean, nowadays, if you have a newspaper on a show, it's
Yeah.
got to say stuff. Otherwise, people are like, what?
It's true. Like
Yeah.
and like on season 1, you can kind of see like they're like, oh, Wayne Tech and like Queen Industries
Yeah.
murder, but that's really all you can read.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention that because that's kind of cool, and we didn't even notice that because we were like, oh, Flash is back, like not noticing that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're enjoying the episode sometimes. Like,
Yeah, and we didn't want to pause the show to be like, oh, wait, can we read the newspaper?
plus, we do the review right after the show, so we don't
Yeah.
we don't watch it twice before, or and look at stuff like that.
But that's why I like we can do our Flash review, then we could talk about shit like that on here too as well now.
yeah, totally. That was the whole
Um,
point.
But let's get into Titans. I'm a huge fan of Teen Titans. I've loved them since I was a little kid. I remember going to Brian's house when I was younger, and like every morning we'd watch Teen Titans there. I read a bunch of their comics. I mean, Beast Boy is my favorite DC character.
It's funny.
Yet I don't have his pop figure
It's weird.
because it's fucking incredibly hard to find, at least here.
It wasn't hard for me to find.
This asshole. He bought this Beast Boy pop figure literally just to make me mad.
And it works every day.
Yeah, it really does. But I'm glad he's here now because I'm close to him.
You put him there.
But that being said, it's obvious. Like, this show is made for someone like me. So what were your thoughts on it?
So, right off the bat, I liked it. It was weird.
Like, because it starts out with Raven having a vision.
Vision about Robin's
yeah.
and his parents.
Which I really like that actress that's playing Raven. I think
Yeah,
I think
she's
it's cool.
cool.
Like, she looks really young because I feel like I'm glad they did that with her and Beast Boy as well. Like, make them kind of younger than like. And Starfire and Robin are kind of known to be older.
Oh, really?
Like, at least in the comics, like they're young, but like a lot of the times
Right.
they're the ones that grow up and the other ones kind of stay young.
So off the bat, like I go, oh, this is interesting because, everybody knows that story.
Yeah, but it's kind of a different perspective too.
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's not quite like Batman's
Did
story.
you expect Chris O'Donnell to show up?
A little bit, and then LL Cool J.
That was when I was watching. I was like, "Oh, is this really only like the second time we've really seen that?" Like, I think they did it in Gotham slightly, but
Oh, I don't know. About
like,
that.
I was like, "This is kind of cool." Like, I haven't thought about this in a while.
But I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, and then I recognized the actress that played her mom.
Oh yeah, I did too. She was in Shameless. I really liked her in that.
And I was like, okay, they got some people, and then I didn't really know what's going on necessarily, but and then when they showed him being Robin being a detective, I was like, okay, cool. Like so far, I'm in. And then, but it really got my attention. Like the fight scene was pretty cool. He beat the shit out of people.
The choreography in the show was really good.
He beat the shit out of people.
Yeah, I liked that. I thought some people online are like, "That's like, how can he quit being with Batman because he's killing people still? Like they're the same." Like I feel like there's gonna be more to it. Like it's not really necessary that Batman probably was killing people, or just I feel like it's like the neglect and he was lonely and Batman was supposed to be by himself. You know.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like it'll get more into that he didn't want to be like he wanted obviously this show he's building a team, so
maybe he just wanted
people.
his own TV show.
Maybe that could be the case too. But I really liked it, and it seemed to me.
But he was likable too.
He did beat the shit, and when he smashed that guy's face on the window and pulled it across, that was fucking disgusting. But like also, it seemed like he didn't really try to kill them. He did maybe step on that guy's neck, but like when he was shooting at, it didn't look like he was shooting. It looked like he was like shooting past them, like to daze them a little bit. And like originally, he didn't want to fight them too. So I feel like his intent isn't to kill. He's not afraid to. It doesn't seem like. But it seems like that wasn't his intent right off the bat.
To me, he just didn't give a shit. He was just going after him.
I did like that fight scene though. That was really cool. Even though we saw bits of it in the trailer.
Like the third time he hit that guy when he was on the ground, I was like, Jesus Christ. So I was into it. And then they showed Starfire too.
She's the character on this show because everyone else seemed basically their comic book character, but like a DC DC live action version where they gotta make him darker and real. But hers is like one I'm like real interested about because she's kind of different.
The only complaint I have about the episode is that I watched it on my phone, and it's got that little white bar right there.
I hate that. If anybody, for some reason, from the DC Universe app creator is watching this, can you please fix that? I don't know if it's on every device, but on the iPhone, you got that little white bar on the bottom no matter what you watch, and it's the most obnoxious thing on the planet.
It doesn't bother me at all. But when she was talking with the subtitles, I couldn't see what she was saying. I was literally like trying, which didn't help. But I mean that was fun. I got the gist of it. So like she was pretty badass, and I have never seen an episode of.
Yeah, you've never seen 10 Times or read a comic. You don't. It's not really your thing.
No, so I'm just going in. All right, let's see if this is any good. But I liked it. I want to see what's going on. Like I don't know why she's looking for Raven, except that.
Well, I don't know that either. As far as I know, that's new. That's what I was interested about. Was like because like she has memory loss. So she didn't know she had those powers. Is what it seemed like. Like I was wondering too. Like, are they going with still she's an alien? Because she's an alien in the comics and all that.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
So I'm interested, like, what parts they're gonna stick to, because it seems like for her powers and all that, they might stick with everything, and they're just like having her memory loss, which is interesting.
But to me, it felt like I was watching a Netflix show or an HBO show.
Yeah, it was really good. The people that said it looked like CW, I feel like they've never seen a CW show ever.
I mean, literally, when Raven's mom gets shot in the head.
Yeah, they even pan down and look at her like guts, or not guts, but her brains.
You don't have guts in your head.
Sorry, I fucked that up.
Yeah, no, it was good. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really good. I can't wait to see where it goes. I noticed there was like 13 episodes.
I think there's 13. Yeah.
And then when I got done watching it, it said episode 2. I was like, oh, really?
I saw it and I was excited too.
So I clicked it, and I wasn't gonna watch the whole thing because I was at the gym and. Mom's gonna be done here pretty soon.
Yeah,
but I just wanted to see if it'd work, and then nothing happened. So.
Yeah,
but yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. I can't wait for the second one.
What did you think about that Beast Boy tease at the end?
You know, so I am not obsessed by Beast Boy like some people.
I don't know who he's talking about.
So I assumed when the security guard woke up, it was good. And then I see the tiger, so I knew it was him right away. And I'm like, okay, let's see if it, and then I like tigers. So, I mean, who doesn't like tigers? So it gets out, and then he turns in, and then he's holding the game. He's like, all right, cool. And I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. Like,
yeah, I
like
really
that.
like
So,
that he literally turned into a tiger to break into like a Best Buy or whatever.
Yeah.
It seems like 8 Xbox games or whatever, and ran out of into the woods just to steal some Xbox games.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's a
He
different one.
should be the comedic relief of the show, which that's part of the reason I really like him.
It didn't seem cheesy at all, and that's
Mhm.
what I was a little afraid of.
I was worried about that too. A lot of people thought they were gonna do it the way like in Legends of Tomorrow. There's a character Vixen. I think you've seen her on Arrow.
Yeah.
Her powers, the way they do it is like it's like a weird ghost of like a
I've seen
elephant
that, yeah.
behind her, or whatever, and it goes through. I don't like that way. I like how they're doing it on here, where it's like he literally turns green into a tiger and all that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I liked it too. Like I told you this earlier. I read his first appearance in the comics is in Doom Patrol, which is cool about this app. Is like you can watch Titans, and then on like the little side area, you could be like comics related to this that you should read, and then have like their first appearance of each character.
I noticed that when
Stuff
I was
like that.
searching. I was searching last night to see if it was showing up when I had like
Mhm.
some downtime, and I was like, oh no, it's not there yet. But then I saw like you could search, like it had like encyclopedia and like it had all this
Yeah.
other stuff you could search on the app. I said, oh, that's pretty cool. So I'm hoping this does well, and that the more
It's
stuff.
already renewed for a second season.
Well, what else do they have though? I mean, of course
They
they're
have a
gonna-
couple shows coming out, but yeah.
coming out,
but yeah. Did this
I mean,
get
if
you interested in like Doom Patrol and their other shows, like Swamp Thing, stuff like that they're doing?
I'm gonna give them a try.
Mm-hmm.
You know, after
I'm
all,
really
we have the
excited
app.
because it's totally spacing on his name. James Wan, the guy who's doing Aquaman.
Uh-huh.
He's like producing it. I don't know if he's show running, but he's kind of in charge of Swamp Thing, and he's getting like his horror buddies to like make the show.
It's supposed to be like an R version, right?
Yeah, I think all these shows are.
Oh,
Maybe not Stargirl, because that's like about like a teenage girl, but I think most of these are supposed to be like our TV shows, which is kind of cool because you don't really see that a lot with the DC stuff.
right,
Like the movies are, but the shows are kind of usually mostly family friendly.
right.
But yeah, I was super excited at the end when because most of the episode I was like, oh, I really like all these characters, but I want to see Beast Boy.
And okay, so here's the thing: I don't know who's in this. So like, I wasn't even positive that was Raven in the beginning. I didn't know who the hell that little girl was.
Okay.
Obviously, I knew that was Robin. And
We'll
then
give it away. Was it the R on his?
yeah, it could have been Richard, I guess. I don't know. So then
That'd be a cool twist at the end of the show. He's just like, I'm Richard.
So then, and I knew Beast Boy because you wouldn't shut up about him. So then, but I was wondering, I almost called him Cyclops, but if Cyborg was going to be in it.
I was hoping, when they were originally casting it, I was really hoping they would. And I feel like he might show up in it in their Doom Patrol episode, because they have one coming up.
Because isn't he from Detroit anyways?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
At least in the movies. I don't know a lot about him other than like in Teen Titans and shit. Because that's one of my favorite like relationships in the like they kind of did a little bit with like Kid Flash and Beast Boy and Titans Rebirth, but like that's usually like his buddy in like the animated show.
Oh yeah.
But Cyborg is for sure in Doom Patrol, so he is in this universe. So I would assume he'd be one of the characters in their first episode introducing him, because that's like what people would want to see.
Yeah, I just didn't know. So I mean, so far, it's cool. Can't wait to see the second episode.
Yeah, Hawk and Dove is in the next one. That should be really cool.
Who?
Hawk and Dove. They're gonna go meet them and like help them out with like some
Sounds
stuff
like
with
a-
Raven.
Sounds like a show on Fox.
I mentioned about I don't know if they've actually confirmed the villain of this season. I haven't seen it. Like everybody kind of figures, but I don't know if they've actually officially said it. But it's supposed to be Trigon, who's Raven's dad. He's literally a giant 3-eyed demon.
Oh.
So like all that stuff, that guy's like he guys got the heart and doing that. I'm assuming that's like his people. Or
Yeah, I was
like
wondering
a
about
cult
that.
kind of going after her. I like that they were kind of vague on that.
Because he had a heart of like a monster and then a heart of a simpleton.
Yeah.
And I was like, so how do you decide if someone's a simpleton? Like, what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You give him like a pop quiz or something?
There was one scene I really liked in the show. It was when Dick was talking to his partner. I like that we have a show where you can call the guy Dick and it's not mean either. But he's talking to his partner, and she's like, "Oh, it seems you don't like to hang out with partners or whatever." And like he's talking about Batman, but she thinks he's talking about his old partner in Gotham. That was a really cool
I
scene.
did think it was kind of funny that Robin shows up in Detroit, and they're like, "Oh, we don't need a Cape Crusader here. Get the fuck out of here."
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, "Hey, where's he from? Oh, he's from Gotham. Oh, like no one's putting it together that like."
It's kind of like a scene in Black Lightning that happened where like they finally find out who's Black Lightning,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, you just found out because of the context clues, not because his facial hair looks exactly the same
He's the same build, same
Yeah.
exact. Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. I mean, I guess you can't worry about shit like that. But
they did.
It's funny to bring it up though.
I really like in Arrow. They mentioned that when Roy goes to visit, I can't think Lance, and he keeps talking to him all this stuff, and then he's like, "All right, Roy, see you later." And he's like, "Well, you know who I am?" He's like, "I see you guys every night. You don't think I know who you are?"
Yeah.
That was one of the best lines in that show. But yeah, I'm super excited for Titans. I can't wait to see more of it, and I thought this was a really good episode.
It would have sucked if I didn't like it, because then I have to watch 13 episodes, because you would still like it.
I was wondering about that. Like after watching, I was like, I really liked it, but of course I did.
Yeah.
So then I looked on Twitter, like I was just scrolling, and then I saw that you tweeted about it. I was like, oh, cool, he liked it. Okay, that gets me happy.
Yeah, he said fuck Batman. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Which I mean, you know, I like Batman, but like.
Which is cool. I don't think I don't think they're gonna cast like a guy as Batman, but there is a suit.
They didn't cast a girl?
Maybe, well they did that with Arrow. But there is a suit, so I think in some of these flashbacks we'll see like a figurine of Batman and stuff like that with him. So
Yeah,
that'll be kind of neat. And I know there is a Bruce Wayne in the show. Bruce Wayne is a character on here that we're gonna see in flashbacks.
I mean, it's the DC Universe app. They could do whatever
Yeah,
they
I was
want.
wondering that. They're like, and I think for this show, it's that they didn't want to do Batman. They want to do Teen Titans.
Yeah. It's not like Arrow where they go, nope, can't have Batman.
Yeah, I think in this they're like, hey, this is our fucking app. Let us do.
Yeah.
I think obviously I really wanted to watch this because it was Teen Titans, but like the big selling point for me is that it was Jeff Johns writing the show and show running it. Because I really love it. I love all his comics that he makes. His Teen Titans runs is my favorite. He did a lot of really good Flash. Like he's the one that introduced like Flash mom dying and all that shit into Flash.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Now that happens every season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it. I don't think there's much else to say about that. At least I can think of.
No, I mean, it's hard. It's one episode, but it was
Yeah.
good. I enjoyed it. I look forward to the second one.
But yeah, comment down below your thoughts on Titans and what you think about the show, what you're looking forward to it. And yeah, so now we're going to move over to Black Lightning. And I do want to say, I didn't mention this in the top of the show, but if you're still watching it for future episodes, I timestamp each episode that we talk about and stuff in the description. So like, say you don't watch Titans, you want to go to Black Lightning, or because next week we're talking about Arrow. If you don't want to watch Arrow and stuff like that, you can just skip in the description below. It'll be easier for you.
Are you going to talk about Supergirl next week?
I might bring it up every now and then. Probably not every week, because chances are it's not going to be that great every week. But every time there's like a fun episode, I'll bring it up on here.
So never?
Well, the premiere's got to be a little fun, right?
I guess you don't remember Supergirl.
The crossover, we'll talk about that episode.
Whatever.
But yeah, so moving on to Black Lightning. Black Lightning Season 2, Episode 1, I believe it's called The Book of Greenlight Babies.
I think you're right.
I really liked how because they had fucking giant titles last year. I hated that.
Oh, yeah.
Because remembering it was a bitch. It's always Black Jesus, the book of something.
Yeah.
But I like how in this season, I'm hoping they continue with this, they have like a title card of it now. It's like a comic book and it transitions into the show and all that.
That was actually really cool.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. And I started going, I was like, oh, this is neat. I still think their little rap with showing the Black Lightning symbol is still very cheesy.
Black Lightning's back.
Yeah, but, whatever. It's like 10 seconds, so who cares?
Yeah, you can get over it.
I thought this episode was a good episode, but it wasn't what I was like for a premiere. I'm used to like Flash and Arrow and like Titans, where it's like a big episode for a premiere and they set up all this stuff. But it was literally just like a continuation of the finale of like last season
Of the story, yeah.
Yeah, which is it's different. So like I was kind of thrown off by it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected it because you watched it before me and you said that, so
Yeah, I guess that kind of tempers their expectations. And you're like,
but right off the bat, I'm not gonna remember their names.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, it took me forever to remember their names last season. Like I know Anissa and Jennifer and all that, but
I'm not sure I remember their names. But the only white girl in the whole show fights.
Oh, the bad girl with Tobias.
Tobias, yeah.
She fights the assistant from the school.
Yeah, the vice principal.
That was a really cool fight scene.
Yeah, and like the funny thing is so like last year that lady was in school the whole time, and
and like we kind of saw her at the end, like oh, she's with like.
And we expected because she was kind of a bitchy little fuck. But, yeah, their fight scene was super cool.
And at the end, she fucking stabs a girl.
I did not expect her to kill
I didn't
her.
either, and then that happened. I was like, oh, because like that girl survived last year. We're like, oh, I guess she's part of the bad guys the next season.
Yeah,
I thought it was gonna be her, Khalil, and fucking Tobias, but I was like, oh no, I guess not.
She stabbed her in the neck with her shoe.
Yeah, that was pretty
those
cool.
shoes were actually badass.
Yeah, those are cool. You want to get some of those and burn?
Kinda. I don't think I'd be able to walk, but I could stab you in the neck with them.
Yeah, I guess yeah.
That was really cool. And then when Anissa went and robbed those drug dealers.
Oh, that was when she first went in there, because like the whole kind of point of this episode was like the church people found out that their kids are in the tubes, like becoming superheroes and all that.
Yeah.
And the government owns them unless they pay and all that stuff.
It's weird how they bring in like racism, but it's like it's with superhero racism.
They do that a lot with like X-Men and stuff too, but like you don't really see it that often in like these shows.
Well, this one is weird because it's actually black people doing it. So so then you're like, wait, this is totally racist. But like, you might not do that with X-Men.
They're pretty. It's funny because we talked a lot about this last season, where like this show definitely used its later time, like for good, and like the violence and the language and stuff like that. And
the language, for sure.
Arrow did absolutely nothing.
Well, I don't think Arrow can call, like, no one's going to call Arrow the N-word.
Yeah, well, but I'm not necessarily saying they have to do that, but like they were like, oh, it's going to be edgier because it's later, and Arrow was the same thing last season. But this show still, like they kind of take advantage of that, which I like, because it makes it feel different.
Yeah, so she brings that money to the church, and the preacher pulls a gun on her.
Which there's no fucking way like I didn't recognize her. She goes to church all the time with her family, looks at her in the eyes all the time.
She had a mask on.
She had a hood on, I think, actually.
A hood and a mask.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I can trust Pinky from Friday.
You know, I completely forgot that's who he was. That's hilarious.
Like, he's up there, and I'm like, well, because he always reminds me of Eddie Murphy's older brother, the one that died. And, you know, so I was like, oh my God, that's the guy from Friday. So I don't know if I trust him necessarily, but
yeah, that's fine. I
brought him the
forgot
money.
Who he is.
So if he's in on it, it's because...
That's because he's from Friday?
Yeah, totally. And then in the late 80s, Robert Townsend was pretty goddamn popular. Early 90s, he's really popular, a comedian, and like he had a movie that he made.
He was the guy that's talking to Buck Landing all the time, right, Jefferson?
Yeah,
like about the school.
And he's the one that said they're going to close it down and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he had a movie that he made, wrote, produced, kind of like Kevin Smith, just like did everything himself, and it did really well. I think it was Hollywood Shuffle.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
It was funny. Like, it'd probably be cheesy now if we watched it, but
like at the time, it was real good.
Yeah. But so I was surprised to see him in it too. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And he was totally serious. It's not like he was cracking jokes or something.
You mentioned the guy too that was interviewing / like police negotiation stuff with the mom.
Oh yeah. He's from Commando and Predator.
You said he's also in one of the X-Men. We didn't remember which one too.
Yeah, so they added like a bunch of like good actors, you know, which is cool. It's not like they had bad actors. Oh, and you know what else is funny too? So since Black Lightning ended and then restarted, I watched 2 seasons of Goliath.
Oh yeah,
which has nothing to do with it except the police chief guy.
Is he in it?
He's in Goliath season 1, and he's with the bad lawyers. So he's kind of a dick. So I liked him last year, and as soon as I see him, I was like, man, screw this guy. I was like, oh wait, this is a different show.
That's funny
because I could end liking him last year.
Yeah, it was so bringing him up. He found out that Jefferson Pierce is Black Lightning.
Now,
which I was kind of glad he did. The whole scene was kind of weird, but I was glad he did it.
Yeah, and I don't blame him for being pissed off.
Yeah.
Because he's like, they've been buddies forever.
And then he even lied to him multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Oh, he did give him, what was it, the black signal he called it last year when he gave him that phone?
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I like that too. Then he was like, I forget the mom's name, but he's like, is she Thunder?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, no. Anissa? Yeah. It was almost like he was like a little kid in trouble.
When he asked if the mom was, I was like, what the hell? And then I go, how could the mom? And then
when he said that, then he said, guess Anissa. I was like, oh, I guess, because they are kind of like the same build and like they're probably the same height. Yeah. So I could see him just guessing that if Jefferson's Black Lightning.
So when Jennifer burned her mom,
you went, yeah, burnt.
No, I didn't do that. I was like, oh, you know, like she doesn't know her powers. That's what's going in my head. Oh, she doesn't know. She didn't mean to do that. And then she goes to help her up. I was thinking, I don't know if I'd let her help me up. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. And then her mom was like, all scared. And I was like, well, you don't need to be scared of her. Like,
that's funny.
It's funny. I was thinking it. She did it. And then I was like, oh, no, come on.
No, fuck you. Don't do what I said.
Yeah, totally.
I thought it was funny how they're still which is it's kind of annoying because I feel like they're going to keep doing this. Where, like, she doesn't want her powers, then she does stuff, she doesn't want her powers.
Yeah.
Eventually, she's going to become Lightning.
Then I would be afraid of her?
Probably. You would be the mom then.
Oh, I would be.
But it's funny. They're all afraid of her, and she's like, "Oh, got scary powers." But it's literally like she's like floating or sitting in a bathtub with like fireflies around her.
Yeah, I didn't get
It's
that.
not that scary.
Well,
Like if that started happening to me, like it'd be like what, and then you'd be like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess this is like," especially if you know you have a superpower,
I got news for you. If you're laying in the bathtub,
and there's fireflies all over.
I'm not hugging your ass.
Not even to suck the energy inside you.
No.
Wow, what a dick! You're no Jefferson Pierce.
Yeah, I'll fucking turn the shower on.
Were you surprised at the end when that kid, I believe it's the kid from the beginning, comes back to life? And then the mom's like, "Well, what the fuck? I was glad you're dead."
Yeah, that was fucked up.
That was crazy. I didn't expect
The
that.
sister's like, Mom, what the fuck?
So do you think that was his power? Like he was like making the mom say what she really felt?
Oh, maybe. I didn't think of that at the time.
I felt like, because like she was like, "Well, I didn't mean to say that." I felt like that was part of his
maybe.
power. Like he made them be like, because like at first she was like, "Oh my god," and
He's
she's
like a walking truth serum.
he's like Wonder Woman's lasso but walks.
Maybe he had like an invisible.
Maybe, yeah. But that was really weird. And then like he runs off and the police are chasing him. Then you hear kind of like some gunshots, but I don't think they killed him. I don't know.
It's so. I mean, they do not make the police look good in this show.
Yeah, not at all. Which is hard to do in general, make them look good.
No, yeah, totally. But, it's just,
but
they're not helping the situation.
I liked when he came out when he had powers and he was glowing out. I thought that was cool because I was glad maybe we'll get to see some more like super people.
Yeah, and hopefully they have to fight them.
That'd be cool.
I mean, I assume that's what they're gonna do.
My one negative thing about the show, and it's the same thing from last season, it's just not even that negative because it's not really this type of show. It's just what I'm used to and what I would kind of like on here.
You want a bad guy every week.
Not even every. I wish there was just more bad guys, or even like if they just like every other episode they stopped like a crime. Because like Jefferson's watching TV and there's like all cop students out from crime happening, and like Ness is talking about it, and they're superheroes and they're just at their homes just chilling, and he's like, "Oh, pretty soon they're gonna be against all of us metas," and I was like, "What, the two of you that sit in your house and don't do anything? You fight Tobias every time he walks outside,
Maybe he's
and that's
resting
it?"
up for the next one.
Maybe. Yeah. Did you think it was weird when he's laying in bed and she's like, "Oh, so maybe your powers didn't work because your penis doesn't work"?
Well, that's the thing. So I'm thinking 9 o'clock, because that's why they have it at this time.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, everything works, and I was like, oh, come on.
He's like, I'm willing to test your theory.
I don't need to see a little black lightning, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, that'd be an interesting like.
No.
But that started because it's funny because like they're having
What?
they're having a
Why
dramatic.
are they still divorced?
It's funny. I completely forgot they were divorced because the whole episode they're fucking together and they argue a little bit, but like they're together.
She's like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, and then
I'm like,
and then she comes back to that. He's like, "Oh, you came back," and I was like, "Oh yeah, she doesn't fucking live here."
yeah.
Like
That part's weird.
she's there every time. They'll probably get back together this season. I'd assume.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense that she's there because both her fucking children are going crazy. But
Yeah, but yeah, that whole scene was just so weird. Cause like, so was she insinuating that he's had penis problems in the past? Because she's like, maybe it's like when your penis doesn't work and your powers were kind of doing the same thing.
No, I think she.
Or was she just using that as an example?
as an example.
Because at first I was like, is she trying to say that like sometimes Black Lightning can't get it up?
Like he needs like some male enhancements.
Mm-hmm. That was such an odd scene to watch, though.
It was very fun. I didn't really think about it again after it happened.
Well, because I was
Thanks
like,
for bringing it up.
like I was saying before, then we got distracted a little bit. I was watching it and they're having a moment. Sometimes those moments drag on a little bit, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, can you? And then all of a sudden, like right as it starts to drag on, she's like, so does your penis work?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I'm back in.
wow.
Well, because it's
That's
like,
all it takes.
it's like, where's this going? Like, can you imagine you're watching Flash and I was just like, hey Barry, can you get a boner? And he's
She
like, I can
didn't-
get the fastest boner alive.
She didn't say that.
She basically did. She just did all that because she wanted Black Lightning in her.
So I like the episode. I didn't think it was like the greatest episode I ever watched, but I enjoy it, and it's one of those. It's totally a slow burner.
Mm-hmm.
But so at the end, Tobias kills. No, he doesn't kill.
He shoots her with a harpoon, and she starts like crying and shit. I was like, "What
Screaming.
the fuck?" Yeah, and then just jumps out a window.
Yeah.
So
So-
did she kill herself, or did she stick the landing and like get a
Well,
10?
she had a harpoon. Maybe she timed it, and then she's just like hanging there. And then
Maybe,
she can,
yeah.
like jump down. Like if she was really good, it would land, and then she just like walk away.
I thought I thought she was gonna be fake crying, and then like pull out like a chink and boom, blow up the place or something. It's gonna be like a switcheroo, and we get like a new villain or something.
Really?
Because she seemed like she was doing something, and I was like, oh no, she's just really hurt.
Oh yeah.
I got
no.
that something was because the whole thing was weird because she walked in, she's got fucking night vision goggles and guns and shit, and she's like, I'm ready to fight, and then he's just like, no, you're not. Yeah, I expected her like a big. Like I was thrown off. That's why I was like, oh, she's got to have something up her sleeve.
He's a really good bad guy.
I do really like him.
He's just fucking evil.
Mm-hmm. He reminds me a lot of Wilson Fisk from Daredevil.
I could just see that just from the look.
They're kind of similar look, and they're both just evil fuckers.
Yeah.
So, but I think he might even be a little more. I don't know. They kind of. I mean, Will Smith did slam a guy's head with a car door and smash it to bits, but I can see this guy doing that.
Yeah, I don't think Tobias would have a problem doing that.
I don't remember. Lala didn't die last season, right?
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
He died again at the end?
Yeah.
I was wondering that this episode. I couldn't remember how he died, if he did.
He didn't Tobias kill him?
I thought that in the episode, but then like I kept kind of waiting for someone to mention it.
Because I thought we thought it was weird that he came back just to make him go away again.
That might have been the case. I was going to look it up, and I thought, nah, I'll just ask Nick.
Well, it's not. That's the thing, is we haven't watched it in a year, and it's not really rewatched.
Yeah. I actually thought about rewatching our video to see what we said about the last one.
Oh, really?
But then I was like, nah.
You could just watch the episode. It's on Netflix.
Yeah. But yeah, I really like both these shows, and next week the show will be interesting because we'll be talking about Arrow, Titans, maybe Supergirl, and Black Lightning, and then any catch-up stuff on Flash as well.
Yeah.
Any last things you want to say about either show or just in general?
Season 3 of Ozark was greenlit.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we'll be doing next year season 3 of Ozark, and then I do want to mention if anybody out there watching this, if you're still watching, fucking 35 minutes in, if you watch Celebrity Big Brother, when that comes around, we'll be doing that on this show, but it'll be separate than these ones, because then the show will be fucking like 2 hours long.
Right.
Doing that. So we'll do probably 2 of these a week for that as well. And you can listen to the show on iTunes or watch it on YouTube or whatever. Comment down below what you thought about it so far, if you like that we mix the shows together, or if you'd rather us do separate videos and whatnot. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week for Arrow, Black Lightning, and Titans.
Fuck Batman.